What's up, guys? Here at the week 2 review. Obviously, I'm doing this at my office today. I have a very busy week ahead, so for me to knock this out, I got to do it on my break here. So, without further ado, I'll jump into things. Obviously, we know there's some big injuries this week. Saquon Barkley is going to be out a few weeks, and obviously, I'm pretty sure it was in our group chat last night, but the Nick Chubb injury was pretty gruesome. Tough to see that. I'm a big Nick Chubb fan. I think he's a very a good person outside of football and just a great individual and a very hard-nosed player. So obviously, I wish him the best in all his recovery. I did see something that said like the last few Monday night games have been had some crazy stuff happen. Obviously, last week we had Aaron Rodgers tear his Achilles. We had the issue this week with Nick Chubb. There will be 2 games next Monday night as well. I told somebody I said I have a feeling if Joe Burrow plays, he's going to be the next one with a bad injury. So we'll see what happens there. We'll jump into the matchups here. First matchup I have is myself versus Ray. Ray won this one pretty easily. It was 113-96. Looking at my team, I had Justin Fields with 15. I absolutely expect a little bit more there. Obviously, tough week for my team with Austin Eckler out, your first round pick. Not having him is going to be tough. Gus Edwards did okay. Obviously, I spent a lot on Fab on him that we discussed. He got 12 points. I'll take 12 points. I'm not gonna complain about 12. DJ Moore did decent with 13. Gabe Davis had a nice day with 18. Mark Andrews had him this week, had 13. Olave got me 12 last night. My defense struggled. Obviously, the Jets have a good defense, but I think with Zach Wilson, they're being put in some tough positions. So they had -1. I did have Nico Collins on the bench with 24, so a nice day out of him. And outside, Ayuk had 6. I consider that a dud. And then obviously, I played Tank Bigsby as my RB2. He got 0. I could have got points out of anybody I had on the bench. Had 4 running backs on the bench. They all scored more than 0. Obviously, that's pretty likely. I guess I thought that game was going to be high scoring. I want to say it had the highest over under of the week and probably was the lowest scoring game. I was just hoping for the best, maybe a touchdown or 2, but didn't work out for me. Looking over here at the Rays team, Joe Burrow got him 15. Barkley, before obviously the injury was late in the game, did have 24. Diggs got him 10. Deebo Samuel with 19. Tutu Atwell with 12. San Francisco kicker with 14. Did have the Steelers defense on the bench who had 23, so he could have got a lot more points had he played them over the Texans. You could kind of go either way with that. Geno Smith on the bench had 23, so if he decides he doesn't want to roll with Burrow with the injury, I think he's probably going to try to play through it, given that they are 0-2, but we'll see what happens. No real duds in his lineup. Outside of his defense getting negative points, given who the players are, I think they met expectations. Obviously, maybe outside of Diggs a little bit. Next matchup we have Michael versus Dalton. Dalton won this one 129-93. Looking at Michael's team, Trevor Lawrence struggled, only 9 points. Obviously, Nick Chubb had that massive injury, so that's a huge blow to Michael's team, who also didn't have Aaron Jones this week. He was dealing with a hamstring injury. Mixon got him 12. Jordan Addison got him 15. Addison, I believe, has scored in both weeks, so he's looking pretty decent there. George Pickens with 21, and then everybody else had single digits there. Outside of Chubb getting the single digits, obviously, because of injury, like everybody else, you're rolling with some rough receivers. Kendrick Bourne, Jordan Addison, Samuel, and Pickens. That's it's not the best recipe there. Obviously decided to opt not playing Amari Cooper. I know he was going into last night with an injury designation, so that does make things difficult because if he doesn't play, it's tough to have a backup option. He did play and do decent. He got 13, but that obviously wouldn't have been enough to win the matchup here. Looking over here at Dalton's team, Josh Allen with 24, Christian McCaffrey with 21, Devontae Smith with 21, Zach Moss with 19. Obviously, Moss, his first game of the season because he was still out the first week, looking good. We'll see, how he fares next couple weeks. Obviously, there's a chance that Jonathan Taylor returns in week 5, so we'll see if that happens or not. Did have Giants defense with negative points. Jake Elliott got him 11. He's probably number one kicker on the season, I'd imagine. Darren Waller with 11, not too bad. And everybody else did pretty much what you'd expect for the most part there. Maybe Javonte Williams you expect a little bit more than 7. It looks like he's projected 13, but Washington's got a decent defense, and I mean the Broncos just not doing it this year. They're tough. Looks like Dalton also has Cam Akers, who obviously is in a ton of trade talks. He was a late scratch from the game on Sunday. Not sure what's going on there. Obviously, this happened last year as well. And then he came back late in the season and dominated. So we'll see what that's about. I don't believe any teams are really going to give up much for him. If the Rams are fed up with his shit, they may just take like a 6th or 7th round pick. But we'll see what happens there. Next up, we have Josh versus Jason Fowler. Jason Fowler won this one 111-84. Looking at Josh's team, Justin Herbert had 22. Montgomery finished with 12. He did leave that game with a thigh injury. We'll see how that treats him. Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf both basically had 11, and everybody else is single digits there. Obviously, a big issue for his team is Jamar Chase, only had 6 points. Burrow's not helping that situation. The Bengals just don't look good. Obviously, T. Higgins had a big week this week, as we'll cover that when we get to the team who owns him. But Chase's 2 single-digit weeks. You spent a first-round pick on him. Like you need more from him there. So that's very difficult. Did have Hunter Henry on the bench who had 14, and if he would have played him over, Freiermuth would have got quite a bit of points there, but obviously not enough to win. Had Romeo Doubs who had 4 points. Obviously Chase. Miles Sanders with 6. Some tough outings for those guys there. Looking at Jason's team, Mahomes at 21. What's crazy is Mahomes I want to say scored 20 points both weeks and hasn't even played good. So it's pretty crazy that he is so good that even when he plays bad, it's still good. Like it's nuts. Keenan Allen had the huge day with 27. Brian Robinson had 28, big day there. Had Kirk Cousins on the bench who had 29, and McLaurin on the bench with 14. Calvin Ridley kind of came back down to earth with 4 points. Jerry Jeudy with 4 points. Obviously, you expected a bigger day from A.J. Dillon filling in for Aaron Jones, but he only got the 7. Damian Pierce is struggling a little bit for the Texans. The Texans aren't very good, and in turn, they're just passing the ball a ton. Their line is atrocious. They can't block, so they're just dropping back and slinging that rock. And C.J. Stroud's not looking too bad, and he's hooking up with Nico Collins and Robert Woods, and trying to keep him competitive. He's doing the best he can. Next up, we have Kenny versus the defending champ Garrett. Obviously, Garrett noted in the chat that he has played the top 2 scoring teams both weeks. So that is going to lend to an 0-2 record. Nothing you can do about that. Maybe he'll have an easier matchup next week when he goes up against Ray. Kenny had 160 to Garrett's 117. I mean, 117 is not bad, but obviously 160 is pretty nuts. Looking at Kenny's team, Daniel Jones led the way with 31. Rashad White had 19. Tyreek Hill, average day for Tyreek, 13. But that's good. You'll take that. CeeDee Lamb had 20. Puka Nacua with 23. T.J. Hawkinson had 22. Kicker had him not 10. Defense had him 9. I mean, he even had points on the bench. He had Trank London on the bench with 16. Marquise Brown with 14. Jalen Warren with 11. Robert Woods with 10. Didn't have Gainwell this week. He was out with injury. I mean, really the only dud in his lineup maybe is Elijah Moore. He only had 6, but everybody else is pretty on par. Obviously smashed their projection for the week. Looking at Garrett's team, looks like Lamar Jackson at 23. Tony Pollard had a nice day with 16. Mike Evans had a big day with 26. Obviously, my opinion on Mike Evans is he's boom or bust. So he probably won't have 26 again or 20 plus till maybe week 8 or 9, and then he'll do it one more time before the end of the year. That's just how he goes sometimes. Ramondre Stevenson had him 14 there. Had Jared Goff on the bench with 23, so got 2 quarterbacks he could utilize there. Duds in his lineup: Gallup with 1 point, George Kittle with 5, Josh Jacobs with 7. Jacobs is struggling. Not sure what's going on there. They're utilizing him. It's been a tough go at it so far for him. Next up, we have Derek versus Jason C. Jason C won this one 135 to 106. Looking at Derek's team, Brock Purdy with 15, Derrick Henry had 17, James Cook had 18, Tyler Lockett with 22. Kicker got him 10, McManus. Did have DeAndre Swift on the bench, who had 26. Obviously, that's really tough to see. Obviously, could have played him over Mattinson, who only had 3, and that would have been That would have been a 22-point difference, and wouldn't have quite got him the win, but would have made shit a lot more competitive. I mean, obviously, he could have played some other guys too. Osborne had 11 on the bench. Dak Prescott had 20. Adam Thielen had 17. So throwing some of those guys in there. Obviously, you're probably not benching any of the receivers you played for any of the guys on the bench, but maybe you could play any of them over Madison. It's a little iffy though. Bench Najee Harris, which is tough to see, given Najee's draft capital, but it's probably a right move because he only had 5 points. Kind of ballsy there. AJ Brown in his lineup only had 5. Obviously, Devontae Smith had a nice game on Thursday night. Higbee only had 3. We already talked about Madison. Niners defense only with 4. You expect them to do a little bit better against the Rams, but of course, we all went to the season thinking the Rams were atrocious, and the Rams have been pretty competitive in both their games so far. Looking over here at Jason C's team, Deshaun Watson got him 12. Ken Walker with 18, Justin Jefferson with 19, T. Higgins had 25, Mike Williams with 13, Raheem Mostert had 25, big day from him. Nothing really going on his bench there. Outside of Etienne only getting 5, no real duds in his lineup. Everybody did pretty solid for him. And in the last matchup we have here, we have DJ versus Dakota. DJ won this one 126 to 107. Looking at DJ's team, we got Hurts with 25. James Conner had 17. Devontae Adams had 17. St. Brown with 11. Christian Kirk had 16. Defense and kicker both with double digits. Big days there. Russell Wilson on the bench had 26. I don't expect much from Russell Wilson this year. Dalvin Cook in the lineup got him negative 0.3. That's really the only dud in his lineup. So that usually leads to victory when guys aren't fucking up out there. Looking at Dakota's team, Tua came back down to earth, which was expected against the Patriots, and obviously Tua's not going to throw for 400 fucking yards every week. Only had 12 there. Bijan with 19. Garrett Wilson had 15. Kelsey got to play this week. He got 11. Bucks defense and kicker both with double digits. Normally, to me, that's a recipe for success. Just didn't work out here. Had Kyron Williams on the bench, who had 25. That's tough to say. I would have played Kyron over Kelly or Jamal Williams. Both of them had probably better matchups than Kyron Williams. I believe Jamal Williams left the game early last night. I'm not sure if he returned. I want to say Tony Jones, the other running back for the Saints, scored twice last night. So maybe if Jamal Williams stays in the game, those go to him. You never know. Finished with 3. Josh Kelly struggled in that game, only with 4. Titans got a good run defense. They kind of have a pass funnel defense, but you expected better from Kelly there because I guarantee Eckler would have got more than 4. Josh Dotson only got him 4 there. Nothing else really going on there. That covers everything for this week. Obviously, I'll have power rankings out. Probably you guys will probably see before you even see this video. I'm sure there'll be some changes. Obviously, I imagine I'm have to move Michael's team down, Ray's team down a little bit. Maybe not Ray's team. He's already at the bottom. My team will be dropping some as well after the loss, and just I don't have running backs. If losing Dobbins and Eckler, I think Eckler will be back this week, but there's no guarantee. And if not, my team is fucking in a rock and a hard place. Obviously, waivers will process tomorrow at noon. I'm sure it's going to be super active. We've already had a trade happen today. I imagine there'll be some more trade stuff taking place in the next couple of weeks. I don't typically look into trading this early. I like to see kind of how things pan out for a few weeks before I start trying to shuffle things up. So we'll see how things go. Best luck to everybody, and see you guys next week.